Hello students. Today we're going to take a look at a couple of files that are particularly helpful when you get into the more advanced scripting in Linux. Now we've done a few things with scripting, but the most notable thing we've seen was the script we wrote last week where we were making a copy of our documents folder into a backup folder. And this is a very useful script to have, but we need some way to automate the process, otherwise we're going to forget to do it. And that's one of the big problems with things like backups, is that people just forget to do it, or it's super inconvenient. And so today we're going to look at two files that are helpful because they allow us to modify them in order to auto-run a script or a program. Now, if you have looked at the list of files in your home directory on Linux, then you may have seen several of these files or folders that don't necessarily seem to have meaningful names. Like this .profile is one of the ones we'll look at today, and this other one is .bashrc. And what these are is, if they begin with a dot, they're system files. And these system files serve some purpose. The two we're going to look at today, again, are bashrc, which runs whenever you launch a terminal, and .profile, which runs whenever you log into Linux. And these are actually scripts. So if we actually open up one of these, so let's open up bashrc, then we'll see that it's actually a script, just like we're used to seeing. And so I've added this echo up here that says, have more fun when the first file opens. And if you noticed on my terminal, that had appeared at the top. But there are some other things we can do. We can say touch file in order to create it, and if you look at my desktop now, you'll see that that was also created. And so this is useful because it allows us to, as I said, run these scripts whenever we want to, or whenever we launch a terminal. And this will allow us to sort of automate that backup so that we don't have to do it every time. Now, launching a terminal isn't necessarily something you'll do every day. For us, it's particularly helpful, especially as we get into some of these more advanced uses of Linux. But in general, you aren't always doing this administrative stuff. You aren't always writing these operating system scripts every day, and so you don't really need a terminal every day. So even if you do it once a week or something, it's still an opportunity to lose a lot of progress if you don't back up your stuff more often than that. Something goes wrong, you could lose a week's progress. So this other script we're going to look at is this .profile, and this is per user profile. So my user profile is just my name, Jacob, and whenever I log into that, including when I log in for the first time after turning on a computer, that script runs. So let's take a look at that. And you can see here that this is a profile. You can see some comments that mark up and tell you about what it does, including some things that, for example, set your path. So if you want to modify your path, you can do that in here. Now, you can see that I've added the same things here. So I've added an echo, but since Ubuntu by default doesn't launch as a terminal, you don't actually see that echo anywhere. So that's not really doing anything. So we can go ahead and remove that. But you'll also see that I've added this touch to create another file, a test file 1, on my desktop when I log in. So let's go ahead and log out and back in, and you can see, if you look at my desktop, that test file 1 does not exist right now. And so we can then go ahead and demonstrate that. Log out, log back in. And so there you can see it's been created. So again, that's a script that runs when you first log in, or when you log in as a user. So that's the .profile, and then the .bashrc was the one that runs when you open a terminal or open a bash shell, as it were. The other thing I wanted to show you in the .bashrc was the aliases. So we've talked about aliases, and the problem is when we create new aliases, they have to be created every time we run a shell. Or if we set up a UMask in order to create default file permissions, it has to be run every time we run a shell. And so here we can actually see where some of these default aliases like LL are originally set up. So every time you launch a terminal, these commands are executed, and that's what creates that LL command as the equivalent of ls-alf. And again, you can also see that it sets the path and does a handful of other things. And if you're curious, you can dig in and sort of break down what everything's doing in here. But yeah, so that's what I wanted to show you guys today, and I hope it makes some sense. And if it doesn't, you can shoot me an email with any questions, and I'll see you guys in class next time.